I wish I remembered. I'm sorry.
I just know, I didn't know.
What you need to do is maybe just set up an account for this room with his passwords.
It goes on a person's Google. What on earth is this?
I see.
Hmm.
Oh, God.
I think
It said it started
Yes.
streaming less than a minute.
that's probably all right.
Yeah,
'Cause whether we can view it is irrelevant.
yeah.
What worries me is that I can't click pause because normally it'll start being loud. So everyone, I'd like to let you know that we're now live on YouTube, but I do have a concern that that's not showing me the ability to pause it, which we normally do to prevent audio interference. If we discover suddenly something as loud as we begin to hear ourselves, I'll ask you to pause and I'll fix that. Thanks for your patience.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to call to order this URA, Salem Housing Authority and Council Boards and Commissions Appointments Committee meeting. Present are Bennett,
Anderson,
And Geet,
and Hoy.
Said Hoy.
There we go. Okay, let's, we'll start with the, where do you want to start?
You
Why don't
want
we
to
do
start
why don't we do
with
city
the,
council?
you want to do the boards and commissions
Yeah, why don't we do that
first and then,
Yeah,
so it would start with the,
we'll start with item 3. We're going to do boards and commissions first. Get those taken care of, okay?
All right.
Okay, we have Dr. Irwin Brown, who is the sole available appointee from Ward 5 to the Citizen Budget Committee.
He looks like an excellent applicant. My only question was, are we sure he lives in Ward 5? Because he only listed the PO box as far as what I could see.
actually, Counselor, yes, I emailed him about a week and a half ago and got his physical address and confirmed it in our system. So he is in Ward 5.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm all in favor of him too. I see he applied for a bunch of other commissions, but we've got a lot of good candidates for those other commissions, and he's the only one who applied for the Budget Committee.
Well, he's also a really good candidate for the Budget Committee.
Yes, yeah,
And
yeah.
we need somebody from Ward 5 on the Budget Committee, so.
Yeah, yeah.
The other boards and commissions will survive. Budget Committee needs these members.
Yep.
Okay, why don't we do the roll? Why don't you do it, Linda, real quick?
Okay. Counselor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Hoy,
Aye.
Counselor Nanki,
aye.
Mayor Bennett.
Aye. Okay, we'll be contacting Dr. Brown and tell him he's on the Budget Committee.
Or if he's watching, he knows.
He was very excited to learn about this upcoming meeting and that he was being considered.
Our next one is the Community Police Review Board. As you can see, we had a lot of interest in this one. Not surprisingly, I think people don't know what it does, so everybody got interested by the title. But one of the, and that kind of brings me to what my suggestion to you is. This is one that is going to be talked about in the overall review of the police management system. We're going to be hiring the new chief. We're going to be doing the audit, all the rest of it. What I would suggest is we kind of keep our powder dry, because I think it will help inform, particularly through the audit, who we may want to add to that board, just to make sure we have the right kind of balance on that board. And so I would just suggest that we take this up at our next meeting. We may get some more applicants, but we've got a group of them right now that I think are really good. If that doesn't, if you'd really like to just go ahead, I would suggest we do an interview of some of these candidates. So what do you think?
Well, my thought when I reviewed these applicants, I was very happy that we had so many great applicants. But I felt like I didn't have enough information to really make a decision
Yeah,
in this case because we have so many. And there were some candidates that stand out to me, but yet I felt like I didn't have enough information. So I wouldn't mind a conversation. Maybe we have I don't know how we do that with this particular board, but I think that would be not a bad idea.
yeah. To just follow up with that, Chris, in the past, we have done interviews almost always over the years with this board. Not that we have to. I mean, we've had different times we haven't because we've had fewer applicants, all that. I think this is a time when we ought to make sure we're appointing people to what the board is, that we get a good description of it, and then we have interviews. Yeah, Tom.
Yeah, I joined Chris and you. I was very happy to see 13 applicants for
Yeah.
2 positions. And we know why it is. It's the recent unrest we've had in the city and in the country.
Well, in the country anyway.
Yes. Well,
And on social media. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And I went through and I gave people pluses or minuses, not pluses. Well, a couple had a minuses, but I gave them pluses. And I
Is that
ended
like
up
a thumbs up or?
Yeah.
Oh.
I ended up with 2 of them had 3 pluses and the 3 others had 2 pluses. So it seems to me 5 might be a good group to look at. And if you don't mind, I'll just tell you who were in my top 5, and I won't give you the 2 or 3 pluses, but here are the ones that I liked. Sarah Daly, Julianne Jackson, Jonathan Jones, Kathy Seckel, Heather Legasso. Wow, I got more than that. Christine Acosta and Lisa Nair. So I had 7 people out of the 13 that I was very interested in. And I will tell you that Julianne Jackson and Jonathan Jones were my 2 top, but the others all looked like they would be good members.
Well, then what I'll do, I'll propose a motion that we hold off on this appointment until after the audit. Would that, so we understand what this board's going to do. I hear your names. We agree on a couple, we disagree on a couple, but I think a lot of it will depend on what this board's going to be doing. The objectivity of this board, its current role is fairly prescribed. I think we need to make sure we know why people are going on, that they understand what the board is, and that we have a chance to make any changes as a council. So do you all agree with that idea, or do you want to go ahead with that idea?
Well, I agree with delaying it to get more information. I don't necessarily agree that we need to do so because of the audit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with Councilor Hoyer.
You realize this board right now doesn't do anything much.
Yeah.
Okay, just so you
And
know
that's a
that. I
problem.
don't know if you've informed your constituents of that.
No.
But it's a pretty prescribed situation that they are involved in.
It's when there are complaints against police activity and they discuss it. That's basically what they do, is my understanding.
I can offer a quick clarification that the board, kind of a version of what you just said, Counselor, the board is able to hear and review unresolved complaints against the department. So once a complaint has moved through the internal affairs process, if the complainant is dissatisfied, they can appeal to the board, and the board would review the information and then issue recommendations to the manager and the chief.
That's a limited application, and I agree with the mayor. I think people see Community Police Review Board and they say, wow.
I know, I really think that's part of what's going on, just looking at some of the people that applied. I think that may be at some future date something we're looking at, but I do think, and I agree with you, Chris, we really need to understand who's applying. We need to make sure that we're getting the right people for the position that we're offering. and that expectations are appropriately there. So do you guys mind then if we just go ahead and move this to the next agenda?
Well, I don't mind, but maybe I might offer a suggestion that are we looking for more candidates, or are we closing the applications and looking at these? Seem to me we're probably closing it. I don't know.
Legally have a method, I don't know legally if we have a method for closing. I don't know that we're soliciting with 13, but if somebody wanted to apply, I'm not sure we'd have a mechanism to not allow
Okay,
them
no.
to.
Okay.
Yeah, if we get more, we'll make sure everybody gets them. And I think the other thing, and I think this might be part of Chris's point, is we'll get them out right away if we have more come in. The other is, if any of you have any thoughts about additional information you think we need, would you let Linda and Gretchen know if you feel like there's some information you'd like to have that we can legally ask, but that's probably the only limitation. But and if you have any questions about these candidates, I really recommend talking with Gretchen. She knows a lot about all the candidates that have applied and may know some information that you want to have. If you want to talk with her, I'm sure will take your calls. So then with your permission, I'll just take it as unanimous consent. We will move this to our next agenda.
I've got one procedural question, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
If we've got 2 openings and we all, I think, agree we want to interview people, because this is, for all the reasons we've discussed, we'd like to interview people.
Sure.
So do we want to end up with, say, five interviews for 2 positions, or what number are we looking for to get that? That might be, if we're going to be looking at this for the next meeting, we might want to consider, okay, we're going to have X candidates interviewed. These are the ones.
Yeah, that's
So, I
a
don't
really,
know.
yeah,
Is 5
I
enough?
think.
Is 5 not enough?
I think logistically, what we'll probably want to do is have everybody come in with their top 5, and we'll see
Yes.
if we can work out a top 5. It'll take a while to do this interview because now I don't know if we want to do the interview or have the full council. We have done these in the past. I've been to them where they're done in a separate room with counselors who are interested, but they'll take a half an hour, 45 minutes per interview per person. I mean, this can get a little out of hand. So I think we might want to think a little bit about the interview process we'd want to recommend. So I'd be interested in kind of think that one through, and maybe we could be prepared to talk about that as well. What level of interview? This is a real signal, I think, to the police department and to the community and to the critics of the police department. And they're all different in my mind, with different interests. Some larger, some smaller, but I think it's important that we keep that in mind as we look at this. Okay, we'll move on then.
Just as a point of procedure, I do plan on scheduling one more board and commission meeting this year. Whether or not more are needed remains to be seen, but I do plan on scheduling one for sometime early December to review the request for reappointment and because we've got a large group that term out at the end of December. So that's just
My suggestion would be we just have set a meeting just to discuss the police review board.
Okay. However you want to do it.
In November sometime.
Okay.
Everybody else is in agreement, because the mayor's right. There's a lot of issues here, and we want to really be careful and look at this. And if what we're going to be doing is narrowing it down to 5 or 6 interview, that's going to take us some time.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think everyone needs to be sure to consider all the implications of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Downtown Advisory Board. Got two two names. I would suggest Jordan Truitt. Excuse me. Good?
Yes. I mean, the guy is interested. He applied for, I don't know, the planning commission
Planning
or
commission.
something. And I really liked what he said. He said, I'm a landowner in an area that is ripe for future development.
Mhm.
And that's what the Downtown Advisory Board is doing. It's more narrow in focus than the planning commission. And I
Yeah.
thought we got the right planning commission candidate, but I think he's very good. It seemed to me like Mr. DeSemple was pretty much interested in protecting the bank's position. You know, I'm here with the bank, and Jordan had a broader outlook on it.
Excellent. Okay. Everybody agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, very good. Then we'll be notifying Jordan he's been appointed.
Well, these will all go before council for
The
final
council.
approval at the October 26th meeting.
Okay, the Library Advisory Board.
Doggies.
You had to have been there, didn't you? Oh, God. So we've got a full term and a partial term.
Well, I don't know what folks are thinking on this one, but I recently met with Denise Duran and on some library. She wanted to talk to me about library parking, and found her to be quite thoughtful and interested in what was going on with the library. And I felt like she'd be an excellent candidate.
Chris, I met with the parking people too, and I Lois Stark and then a woman, Francois, I think, and maybe she was the third one. There was a third person there.
Could be, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. I presume we all met with the same people. I will tell you that the two that rose to the top for me and Chris's discussion is I don't disagree with that. Were Stephen Rosen and the Sarah Bishop, the professor of Russian at Willamette.
Yeah, I really agree with you on Sarah Bishop. She hit the top for me. Who was Stephen Rosen.
Yeah.
I certainly would go along with Sarah Bishop. I'd sure like to get, what's our gender makeup on that board even look like? Do we know?
You got it right here,
Okay, just a sec.
based on names.
Yeah,
3, it's
We got two men. I don't know if Kalen Stirring, is that a man or a woman?
that's a woman.
Okay, so we have two men on the board.
Right.
well, I'd like to, it's up to you, but I certainly would agree with Sarah Bishop for the full term and Denise Duran for the partial. Would that work for everybody?
Sure.
It works for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Bishop for full, Duran for partial.
Okay, great.
So
Yeah.
that's what I heard.
That's right, Linda.
And
Okay, great, thank you.
we got, which is unusual, we have an overbalance in gender here, which
Yeah.
normally goes the other way. So I would encourage some more male applicants next time. I
Right,
don't know how to do
right.
that, but we should. And Rosen, hopefully he'll do it again because he's a library volunteer, retired person who helps shelving and stuff at the library. So,
Right.
so
Well, and Linda does that. She encourages them to stay,
The-
yeah.
if you could just let him know that we appreciate his application and ones will be coming up in the future and we would love him to apply again.
Yeah,
Of course.
we do. We write to each of these folks, I think, don't we, on,
I do my very best, yes.
do you write to each of them?
Do I write to each of
I mean, do
them?
we send them a letter or what do we do?
I don't send a letter. I do try to write to each of them via
Oh,
email.
Great, okay. All right, we'll go to West Salem Redevelopment Advisory Board.
It looks like all of them would fill one of the available slots.
Yeah.
Based on-
Chris Wilhelm, I'm not sure makes it.
Well, I had to get some feedback from Tori Banford, the staff liaison, to confirm, because it is kind of complicated who could be plugged in where based on locale and whatnot. And Wilhelm, let's see,
It says
Wilhelm,
he lives in the URA.
pardon me?
Well, if he lives in Ward 8, he lives in the West Salem Neighborhood Association boundaries.
Yeah,
But
that's what I would
but
say
it
too.
was-
Both Chris and Abigail qualify for the West Salem Neighborhood Association position.
What's that mean?
That means that either would be qualified for the full-term position. It's the second one down here,
But Abigail's
this one.
That one.
application said she actually lives inside the urban renewal district.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
How's that possible when she lives in Ward 8?
So
West Salem urban renewal district.
every one of these people qualifies for one of
Oh,
these.
that would be
slots. Is
Ward
that
one.
correct? I thought.
That was
Chris
my
did.
understanding,
I
but there
thought
is a
Chris did.
question about Abigail.
No, it's Chris.
Chris,
Chris lives in-
I'm just looking at this.
Okay, I'm looking at Abigail's application, and Brad is right. On the last page, are you a resident living within the West Salem Urban Renewal District? She said yes.
Okay, well then all
She lives
four
in-
qualify. Can we just plug them into the slot they qualify for?
Yes.
But if she lives in Ward 8, I don't think there's any portion of Ward 8 in that urban renewal area, is there?
there is no one who qualifies for the URA
Okay.
positions.
So
That
she's
is my
wrong.
understanding.
Is she wrong when she says that then?
Probably. I'm looking at her application right now. I think it might be because that's her workplace.
Well, could we find out what her address, it's an apartment, which to me, Linwood Street Northwest, that's an apartment that has more potential to be in the URA than if it's a single family residence.
Right.
Okay.
The
I will
application
double check with
says it
Tori
represents
too. He can help
business
me.
inside of that district as well, not
I'm
just
sorry, Brad?
that checkbox representative of the interest of a business owner, property owner, or other financial interest within the URA. It doesn't necessarily mean she lives there.
Right. Okay, let's do it this way. Let's start with Mike, because I think we can do all four of these people into this board. Michael Ryan,
I had for
It's
the
industrial business,
That's-
okay,
I wrote.
no, you're right.
Mhm.
Okay, Brittany Davidson Crookshank, business,
A representative of a business.
Yes.
correct.
okay. Chris Wilhelm,
I thought resident of the Ward 8,
Yeah.
West Salem.
Neighborhood boundaries.
neighborhood boundaries, and Abigail Allen.
That's only if she lives in the URA does she fit, except that is the West Salem neighborhood, no, that's Ward 1. West Salem neighborhood includes the URA, doesn't it?
Correct.
Yeah,
She's up near Harrod Elementary.
And she
Yeah.
indicates she lives in the urban renewal district.
Mr. Mayor,
we will double check that one. Yeah,
I was just going to suggest that. Can you table her application and we'll try to get back to you by the end of the meeting?
by the end of the meeting, okay. Okay, then why don't we move these other three? Everybody's okay with the other three going on, and we'll just check on Abigail and we'll just revisit it as we get this figured out.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Okay, where are we?
Volunteer recognition.
Yeah.
For a minute, and I'll go out and see if I can find the answer to that question.
Okay.
While we're looking for that, I have to say, last year I nominated a whole lot of people, Benny Williams and the Beatons, et cetera. I got nobody this year, so I'm hoping you guys have some additional
I
nominations.
think. Okay. where's the-
Tough year.
Yes. Yeah. I saw that look.
Okay, the At Your Service Award.
I would push for the archaeological project volunteers. That just seems to me like a pretty interesting thing, and it's for one thing they've done this year.
Are we picking just one for this
No,
category?
in fact, I would just recommend to you, we do all three. They all did good work. It's just it's a recognition of the work they did. Is that okay?
Well, and we also,
There's no limit on how many of these we give out.
we also had the email from Linda that included an additional one.
Who was it?
Yeah, I didn't get that one.
That was emailed yesterday at 1:04 PM.
One is for Willard Marshall and one says Outstanding Advisory Group.
Yeah, this is different. This is At Your Service. Do you remember an At Your Service?
Well,
Yes,
just the
there is an at your
PDF, it
service.
says at your service, Gaglione, and then Marshall Copcho.
No.
That's not what's in my hand here.
Let's just,
So she titled it
So-
wrong.
Mine that says at your service is for Kimberly Macbeth.
now who's Kimberly?
Submitted it.
She's the nominator.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Art Scaglione, yeah.
You're gonna have to be in here.
I'm sorry, where do you see, I'm reading that nomination from Kim Macbeth as for Outstanding Advisory Group, which is different from At Your Service.
Do we
I'm
have
not
an
seeing an additional At Your Service nomination.
The title, the title of the document, when you it says at your
We're on
service.
the At Your
Right.
Service.
Okay.
Who's out?
So
Kimberly.
You're right, the category
Friends of
lists
Pioneer
outstanding
Cemetery, where
advisory.
is that?
It should be behind the At Your Service. Yeah.
Okay, this one is, we've got Friends of the Pioneer Cemetery, the Archaeological Project Volunteers, and Christy Bowman.
Correct.
Those are the three you have,
I'm fine with all those.
okay? You okay? Everybody okay with those? We will give them At Your Service awards.
The only thing I might say is I'm happy with everybody getting an award, but maybe there's one of those three we can slide into one of the other categories that we don't have anybody for. We can look at it as we go down the road.
That's what they were nominated for. I mean, we don't have to give out all these awards. I mean, if people aren't nominating, it's one of the realities. We didn't get a lot of nominations this time.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
People didn't do much this year, apparently.
So all three.
Yeah. Okay, what's the next one? Youth Achievement Award.
One nomination.
Okay, Sherry Bashaw from Blanchett
Oh, thank you.
was nominated for the Youth Achievement.
Well, she's not a youth, though. She's a teacher, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Her work was with youth.
Yes, I agree that. I agree
That's
with
the
that.
argument, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's the only one. The only argument.
It was a city staff person that made the nomination, so I feel like they probably vetted that.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering, okay, here's what Dan says. Well, we'll back up. But I'm also wondering, I wouldn't mind this award if maybe she could come with one or two students who were outstanding in that group.
I'm sure we could make that happen.
We'll do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and so we're recognizing the group and the people who will be there are a couple students and the teacher.
Great. Great,
I'm sure we
great
can make that
recommendation,
happen.
Tom. Everybody okay?
Yeah, we should say the students of Blanchette.
I didn't catch that.
I don't know.
We do the students.
Sorry, I missed, did somebody say something?
Brad did.
No, and we've done that in the past where instead of say the teacher, it was just the students of such and such a school. In this case, it would be Blanchette.
Yeah, we did it for a middle school one time. They did something about, I don't know what it was, but they did a project, climate action, I think.
But the nomination is for the teacher and the students.
No,
It's not just the
that's all
students.
that stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
it should be in your staff.
It's none of that.
No, I've got it right here.
Okay, we're okay on this one? Okay. Distinguished Project Award nominations, we have Salem Public Library volunteers and the Jerry Frank Salem Rotary Amphitheater.
I felt like that one was premature. Shouldn't we wait for the project to be completed?
Yes.
I think what she's talking about is the full upfront work done by these two guys, Barry and Ken, pulling this together. Did you have a chance to read her case for it?
I read
Yeah.
that and I looked at that and said, that to me sounds like the Salem Spirit Award, which is those individuals or groups are constantly promoting Salem and are frequently behind efforts to improve the city.
Okay,
Because it's not a project yet. At that point, Chris, the project has not come to fruition, although I see they're starting to do some
so
construction.
projects are only is completion, okay. From this group's opinion. I just want to understand it. I think it'll help us as we deal with this in the future.
I was just trying to fill the categories, Salem.
No,
Spirit
I hear
Award.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, the
kinda.
nomination talks about leading a task force and overseeing the completion of the build. It's not completed. That's my only thing. It's not.
Well, that's fine. You can have their opinion. I hear what you're saying. She had hers. Why don't we do Tom's suggestion?
Yeah.
Got any problem with that one? Anybody?
No. it's
Okay.
fine.
What is this then, Tom? What was your,
The Rotary
Spirit Award.
is the Salem Spirit Award.
great, thank you.
City boosters, that kind of stuff.
Right. That's probably more appropriate than this anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
Now, yes, this is the information on the mayoral awards. They're not in the formal format, but I didn't know if you wanted to talk about.
Okay, I'm gonna do a couple, because we just got no nominations, I gotta be honest with you. And so I'm gonna do a couple of mayoral awards for outstanding service. One to Marion County for all the work they did for the evacuation center and resource center out at the fairgrounds. Just so you know I'm doing it. And what's this one, Linda?
That is for the fire, the
And the fire department.
relief efforts at the canyon.
And for the fire department for their outstanding service and relief efforts, dealing with the fire, defending Guerin Island, all the rest of it. Okay? And those will just be mayor's awards.
And then you were talking about the Marshall Award for sale.
And then we've got, for the Marshall Award, a couple of nominations, one, and neither of them got out as far as I know. I'm not sure. One is Copcho. Okay, he's a planning commissioner. And then I'd like to nominate Salem Health. I think the work they've done over the past year on COVID-19 has just been kind of unbelievable. And this is our top award. This is where you've really done something extraordinary. I honestly believe The hospital's work has been absolutely extraordinary in this area. And so I'm asking you to award them the Marshall Award.
You're on mute.
Tom, yeah.
John.
Thanks.
I'd agree with you, Mr. Mayor, because of the reasons you said. Plus, it's a little early to recognize somebody who's been on the planning commission for 1 year.
Yeah, it is. He's a great guy.
Yes, I agree. He does terrific, but it seems to me, for an individual citizen, you need a longer term stretch, like Rustin Delana Beaton last year, or Benny Williams, somebody who's been around for a whole lot longer time. So
Yeah, this is really the top award the city as a city gives. I really thought about what have been defining events for the past year. That the COVID-19 event has been so overwhelming, and I really do feel like the hospital and its staff, and it's not just Salem Health, it's Salem Health et al., has really done a fantastic job. So that was my thinking. Any objections?
No.
Okay, so Marshall Award goes Salem Hospital.
We can go back to West Salem now if you like.
Okay, here's the
real
West
quick.
Salem.
Yes, Abigail Allen is not in the URA. So she would not qualify for that fourth position that you were looking for. I know that the staff liaison is actively recruiting, along with the member who held that position who turned out earlier this year.
Okay, so we will move those three to the URA. But Abigail will alert, didn't qualify, but please stay in the running. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Did we address the Art Scaglione nomination?
No, that was the one that was sent yesterday.
Yeah, these came in way after. I mean, we really ended up with a problem. People just didn't take seriously. We needed to have these in advance of
I
this
actually
meeting.
have to take responsibility for that. That wasn't, I confirmed yesterday, that was at our end, not at the
Right.
submitter end.
Okay,
So
good,
my
good,
bad,
thank
my
you.
bad.
Well, is that
We
an
will
award?
not be giving any awards to Gretchen this year.
And you have
So
to
this
turn in if
person-
you've ever received.
So this person has been involved with our HRAP program since the beginning.
Ah.
Unsheltered
Yeah.
neighbors
The
for at least
application,
7
if you
years.
would like it, it's brief, but it does state that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'd like
fantastic.
to give him the award.
Another at your service perhaps, or?
Well,
What else have we got?
Anywhere it comes in through,
She listed the Outstanding Advisory Volunteer Group Award, but I don't see that fitting.
no, we don't have one of those, which is why I think it was said as an at your service.
I think at your service is probably the most
Yeah.
logical.
Would that be okay, Chris? You could.
Yeah.
Or somebody, or Tom, whoever.
yeah, no, he ought to be recognized because they're doing a great job, and it
Oh, yeah.
goes right into our priorities. So I think
Exactly.
art should be recognized somehow.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'll take that.
Okay, we got her covered. If there's nothing else, we will adjourn. Everybody okay?
Nope.
We'll adjourn then. Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
What you did for now.